Hey, all you weather geeks, we're back with a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks for the first time in about a week and a half. I was at the American Meteorological Society's annual conference on broadcast meteorology last week down in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a great week. Met some great people, learned some really interesting things, and after a rough travel day getting back here, we're back in the saddle, and we'll get back to doing Weather for Weather Geeks every day. The main weather story, of course, in the short term is the rain and the flooding problems that we've had as a result. Now, as I record this at about 7 p.m., here's what the radar looked like. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the current radar. I'm going to do some shorter videos this evening to bring you up to date on the current radar situations. So most of you will be watching this well after I record it. So this is what the radar looked like at that point. More showers and thunderstorms look to be heading our way. Taking a look at the rest of the region, we've got more showers, some thunder back towards Chicago. The Indians got rained out at the Cubs this evening. This is all along a cold front. And as I bring up a couple of things here, first of all, the temperatures warm ahead of the front, but notice what's going on with the dew points behind the front. There is a nice drop in the dew points across the Midwest. This air is going to come our way tomorrow afternoon. After a cloudy and damp start, tomorrow afternoon will feature a nice drop in the dew points. Now, we're not going to see the 40s like they're seeing up in Minnesota right now, but I think we'll drop down into the mid and upper 50s for the dew points tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. That'll allow a lot of us to open up the windows and have a little better sleeping weather for tomorrow night and heading into Wednesday morning. So we've got a powerful front heading our way in terms of the moisture content on either side. There's not a big temperature difference. Look at these dew points ahead of the front. And boy, was it a hot day down in the southeast today. It touched 100 in many places. Charlotte got to 99 this afternoon, breaking a record. 95 down in Raleigh right now. It's pushing 100 in most of South Carolina and into parts of Georgia. That heat is all underneath a big ridge, which is just parked over the southeast. Big ridge of high pressure parked over the southeast, and it's on the northern fringes of this ridge that these little disturbances are cruising along and bringing the showers and thunderstorms. Kind of a ring of fire effect, where you have a big ridge, and then right around the periphery of that ridge, you get a wave train of moisture. Well, speaking of moisture, check out this little disturbance down in the Gulf. This is actually not so little of a disturbance. This is what is likely to become Bill before it makes landfall. Now, whether it gets a name or not doesn't matter. The impacts will be the same. This will bring flooding rains to parts of Texas where they don't need it. Of course, if you've been following the weather news over the last few months, Texas has had a ton of rain, and this will not help matters at all. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this moisture as it comes northeast. It's probably going to track something like this, bringing heavy rains to parts of the Missouri and Mississippi valleys. I suspect the heaviest of the rains overall associated with the tropical system will be south of our area, but still, this could enhance our rainfall on Thursday. Thursday already going to be a pretty active day, and this could bring some enhancement to the showers and storms here locally coming up on Thursday. Real quick look at rainfall amounts over the last month. This is the last 30 days. We are above average, where you see the blues and kind of the green colors here. Those are above average rainfall totals over the last 30 days, taking us back to mid-May. It's been drier than average down in southern Ohio. They have not shared in the same pattern we have in northern Ohio and into western parts of Pennsylvania. We'll talk about the long range in a minute, dealing with a possible pattern change we're hoping for as we go towards the latter half of June. But in the short term, let's focus on tonight real quickly. I do think it's going to be an active night with showers and storms around through the night, and some of these can be heavy. They can exacerbate the flooding problems that we're seeing locally. Here's the simulated radar tonight at 10 p.m. Some showers, some thunderstorms around. Just past midnight at 1 a.m. Looks kind of active, so it's going to be an unsettled night tonight. As you get up tomorrow morning, the rain's probably lighter, but still around. Here we are at 6 a.m., some showers around. At 8 a.m., still looking a little damp. The back edge still pushing through northwest Ohio. But I think that back edge is going to quickly push east tomorrow. And by tomorrow afternoon, we are dry. This is early in the afternoon tomorrow. We're dry. I think dew points will be dropping. The sun will be increasing. A nice end to tomorrow. So some good news for our Tuesday. Now, the news is not quite as good for parts of the rest of the week. Let's have a look at Wednesday afternoon here. Moisture starting to increase from the south and west. There's all the tropical juice down in Texas on Wednesday, and moisture being attracted like a magnet up towards a front that's approaching. So wet Wednesday in the lower Ohio Valley. Rain probably takes until the end of the day to get here. Here's late afternoon, early evening. GFS actually tries to park most of this rain south of I-70. Other models bring it a little farther north. So we do have a chance for rain in our forecast for late Wednesday and Wednesday night. Here's Thursday. This looks to me like a pretty active day, especially in the afternoon. Showers and storms around as that moisture streams in from the south and west. But the good news is we'll get most, if not all of this, out of the way in time for Friday. So Friday, our cold front moves through. No cool air. It's typical of the season. Typically, cold fronts at this time of the year don't really have much cool air. But they can have a moisture change. And I think Friday is going to be a day sort of like tomorrow, where we're going to notice the decrease in humidity. And should be a nice afternoon on Friday. As we head into the weekend, if you have outdoor plans, Saturday, clouds probably increase. This is midday Saturday. And we get into Saturday afternoon, a decent enough chance for some showers and some thunderstorms as we start the weekend, and a real quick peek at Sunday. And we're, grasping at straws a little bit here in the longer range. A lot of it depends on the tropical moisture, but some showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the realm of possibility for our Sunday. All right, the longer range. Let's take a look at the upper level pattern in the longer range. Here it is right now. Of course, there's our big ridge over the southeast. As we go towards the weekend, that ridge will kind of hold, firm, so the southeast continues to bake. Another ridge poking up out here in the southwestern U.S. We're just kind of on the fringes of this, so our pattern stays unsettled into the weekend on the northern fringes of these ridges. As we head into next week, here's a look at next Monday, the 22nd. Ridge popping up in the eastern, or the central U.S., I should say. That'll allow a downstream, little bit of a trough, maybe to push into the northeast. That could lead to a brief cool down early next week, and I say brief because that ridge over the middle of the country is probably going to shift east by the middle of next week. So by next Wednesday, next Thursday, the 24th, 25th, could be pretty hot across the region. A little too early to say, when any rain would be, but looks pretty hot. Well, speaking of rain, we can take a look at some trends in the longer range. Here on the climate forecast system, this is a 10-day chunk of precip anomalies, difference from average, taking us through the next 10 days. Looks pretty wet. The purple colors there, that's above average precipitation from Texas up into parts of New England. Not quite as above average, but still probably a little wetter than average for the 10-day chunk from the 20th to the 30th, the last 10 days of the month. Then as we head into July, still might be kind of wet. As long as the pattern features this ridge down over the southeastern U.S., if it's going to be down here, as long as it's parked there, the northern fringes of the ridge will tend to be a little bit unsettled. So this pattern of above average precip might take us into the first chunk of July before maybe by the middle of July the pattern starts to change. So if you're tired of the rain, this isn't a great pattern for you. Sure, we're going to have some dry days, some beautiful days here and there, but I suspect that the last half of June, starting today, is going to average above, or it should be above average, I should say, in terms of precipitation, much like the first half of June has been. All right, we'll be doing videos throughout the evening on Facebook and Twitter, bringing you up to date on the latest radars. So be sure to watch those, and I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11. Thank you for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks.